In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college basketball games happening on March 10, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Wofford versus Furman. The Wofford Terriers and Furman Paladins are set to face off on Monday in the Southern Conference Final at Harris-Cherokee Center. This matchup promises to be an exciting conclusion to what has been a highly competitive tournament. The SoCon has long been regarded as one of the stronger mid-major conferences in college basketball, and this year's tournament has lived up to that reputation. The top half of the bracket, in particular, has delivered some thrilling games, including a hard-fought overtime victory by the Furman Paladins over the top-seeded Chattanooga Mocs on Sunday. Furman has hit its stride at just the right time after a regular season marked by injuries and inconsistent performances. With 6 consecutive wins, the Paladins are finally showcasing the potential many saw in them last fall, and they look poised to carry that momentum into the championship game against Wofford. Wofford's journey to the final has been less challenging compared to Furman's, but the Terriers have been impressive in their own right, securing dominant victories over East Tennessee State and VMI to earn their spot in the season's most important game. When these two teams met during the regular season, Wofford came out on top back on January 13th, but that win came during a rocky stretch for Furman. The Paladins, however, turned the tables less than 2 weeks ago with a road win over Wofford, thanks in large part to their standout backcourt duo of P.J. Smith Jr. and Nick Anderson. This performance provides a clear blueprint for success in the championship game, especially against a Wofford defense that ranks 234th in adjusted efficiency and struggles mightily to defend the three-point line. Furman, which ranks among the top 5 in the nation in three-point attempts, should have no trouble finding open looks against such a vulnerable perimeter defense. If the Paladins can string together a few defensive stops, their offense, both inside and out, should thrive. As our first pick for this matchup, the Furman Paladins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. On the statistical front, the Wofford Terriers are averaging 75 points per game while shooting 45% from the field and allowing 70 points on 43.4% shooting. From beyond the arc, they're shooting 33.1%, and they're converting 65.7% of their free throws. Defensively, they're allowing opponents to shoot 33.8% from 3 and are pulling down 35.2 rebounds per game. Meanwhile, the Furman Paladins are putting up 77 points per game on 45.2% shooting while holding opponents to 68.5 points on 41.4% shooting. They're shooting 35.8% from 3 and 68.2% from the free throw line. Defensively, they're limiting opponents to 30.3% shooting from deep and averaging 33.8 rebounds per game. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Troy versus Arkansas State. On Monday, the Arkansas State Red Wolves will face off against the Troy Trojans in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament Championship game. The game is set to take place at the Pensacola Bay Center in Pensacola, Florida. Both teams earned their spots in the championship after securing wins in their respective semifinal matchups on Sunday. Arkansas State narrowly edged out South Alabama with a 74-71 victory, while Troy delivered a dominant performance, defeating James Madison 79-60. Arkansas State managed to hold off South Alabama in a tight contest yesterday, and now they'll turn their attention to preparing for Troy, the number 3 seed. The Red Wolves are aiming to claim the Sun Belt Championship and secure a coveted spot in the NCAA tournament. On the other side, Troy comes into this game after a convincing win over James Madison and will look to continue their strong form against an Arkansas State team they know well. The two teams faced each other twice during the regular season, with each securing a win on the road. Both squads are currently riding 5-game winning streaks, adding even more intrigue to this championship showdown. South Alabama has been the highest scoring team in the Sun Belt Conference this season, averaging 79 points per game, while Troy sits in 7th place with 73 points per game. South Alabama's senior guard, Taron Todd, has been a key contributor, averaging 15 points and 4.6 rebounds per game. Arkansas State holds a slight edge in scoring and rebounding, pulling down 41.1 rebounds per game compared to Troy's 38.6. Troy's leading scorer, Tatum Kennerway, is coming off an impressive 22-point performance against James Madison and averages 14 points and 4.6 rebounds per game. Defense, however, could be the deciding factor in this matchup. Troy has been exceptional on that end, holding their opponents under 60 points in each of their last 3 games. Arkansas State, meanwhile, has had to grind out close wins against South Alabama and Marshall in the tournament. Troy's season average of 65 points allowed per game is slightly better than Arkansas State's 69.4, and their recent defensive performances suggest they're peaking at the right time. Troy has shown they can match Arkansas State's offensive output, but their defense has been the standout feature of their tournament run. In their 2 Sun Belt Conference tournament games, Troy has held opponents to an average of just 59.5 points per game. In contrast, Arkansas State has allowed an average of 72.5 points per game in their 2 tournament outings. Troy has also been strong against the spread, covering in 6 of their last 7 games. Arkansas State, on the other hand, has failed to cover in their first 2 tournament games and in 4 of their last 6 overall. During the regular season, the 2 teams split their matchups both straight up and against the spread, with each winning on the road. However, based on recent performances, Troy's defensive intensity could give them the edge in the championship game. Arkansas State and Troy each won 1 game against the other during the regular season, with the road team coming out on top both times. The underdog has also covered the spread in 6 of the last 8 meetings between these 2 teams. While there's a case to be made for Arkansas State, Troy's dominant performance against James Madison was enough to win me over. They took control early and never let up, showcasing their focus on both ends of the floor. Troy has held their opponents to 60 points or fewer in 3 straight games and boasts a 19-11 record against the spread this season. As our first pick for this matchup, the Troy Trojans moneyline is our full game side pick. Despite Troy's strong defensive performances, their first 2 tournament games have both gone over the total. The over has hit in 5 of Troy's last 6 games overall. Similarly, Arkansas State has seen the total go over in each of their first 2 tournament games and in their last 4 games overall. Arkansas State plays at a faster pace, ranking 59th in adjusted tempo according to KenPom, while Troy ranks 240th with an adjusted tempo of 66.3. The combined tempo metrics don't strongly favor either a high or low scoring outcome. During the regular season, the over/under split 1-1 in the 2 matchups between these teams. Both teams are playing their 3rd game in 3 days, which could lead to fatigue and potentially impact shooting efficiency, particularly on jump shots. Arkansas State hasn't allowed 75 or more points in any of their last 5 games, while Troy has kept their opponents under 70 points in their previous 5 games. Shooting could also be a factor, as Arkansas State is shooting 42.5% from the field as a team this season, and Troy isn't far ahead at 43.6%. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. San Francisco versus Gonzaga. The West Coast Conference tournament heats up on Monday night as the 3rd-seeded San Francisco Dons face off against the 2nd-seeded Gonzaga Bulldogs in the semifinals. The game takes place in Las Vegas, with both teams looking to secure a spot in the championship. San Francisco earned their place in the semifinals after defeating 6th-seeded Washington State 86-75 in the quarterfinals on Sunday night, covering the spread as 6-point favorites. Gonzaga, on the other hand, wrapped up their regular season with a dominant 95-75 home victory over San Francisco on March 1st, covering the 9-point spread. Historically, Gonzaga has dominated this matchup, holding a commanding 55-4 lead in the all-time series and winning the last 32 meetings, including their most recent win earlier this month. Gonzaga's dominance over San Francisco is hard to ignore. They've won 55 of the 59 games played between these 2 teams, including the last 32 in a row. The last time San Francisco came out on top was way back on February 18, 2012, when they narrowly edged out a 66-65 victory at home. This season, the Dons lost both matchups against Gonzaga by double digits, falling by 11 points at home and by 20 on the road. 6 of the last 7 meetings between these teams have been decided by double double-digit margins. San Francisco has struggled with their perimeter shooting, going just 12 of 45 from beyond the arc in their 2 games against Gonzaga this season. While the Dons have been solid defensively overall, they allowed Gonzaga to shoot an impressive 54.8% from the field, including 15 of 38 from three-point range. In their last meeting, Gonzaga swept the regular season series against San Francisco, winning 88-77 at home on February 13th and following it up with a 95-75 victory on a neutral court on March 1st. The spread for this game is sizable, but it feels justified given Gonzaga's recent form. Their offensive firepower is the main reason I'm leaning toward them to cover. Even if San Francisco manages to put up 70 or 75 points, Gonzaga has the ability to push their score into the 90 seconds. They've been on a roll lately, averaging 85.9 points per game during a 7-1 stretch, with an average margin of victory of plus 19 points. That said, I'm usually hesitant to back a team laying double-digit points after a week-long layoff. Gonzaga might come out a bit sluggish, which could give San Francisco a chance to stay competitive early on. It's also worth noting that this isn't the strongest Gonzaga team we've seen in recent years. Still, they've handled San Francisco with ease in both meetings this season, including a 20-point win just 9 days ago and an 11-point victory a month before that. San Francisco hasn't been able to disrupt Gonzaga's offensive rhythm, and if that trend continues, this could turn into another comfortable win for the Bulldogs. As our first pick for this matchup, the Gonzaga Bulldogs to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. San Francisco has been involved in high-scoring games lately, with the total going over in 5 of their last 7 outings. The Dons rank 88th in offensive efficiency, 85th in effective field goal percentage, and 59th in two-point shooting this season. They play at a slower pace, ranking 163rd in adjusted tempo with 67.7 possessions per game, according to Ken Palm. Gonzaga, meanwhile, is one of the most efficient offenses in the country, ranking 8th in offensive efficiency, 16th in effective field goal percentage, and 8th in turnover percentage. They're also 2nd in field goal percentage, 13th in two-point shooting, and 4th in free throw shooting. The Bulldogs play at a faster pace, ranking 48th in adjusted tempo with 70.3 possessions per game. Gonzaga's offensive numbers are staggering. They're currently 8th in adjusted offensive efficiency, averaging 125 points per 100 possessions. They're 2nd in the nation in both points per game and field goal percentage. San Francisco, while not as explosive, has shown they can score, putting up 86 points against Washington State on Sunday and reaching the 70-point mark in 7 straight games. The first 2 meetings between these teams this season saw totals of 165 and 170 points, and with Gonzaga's offensive momentum, this game has the potential to go over the total as well. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.